Welcome everyone to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host Travis and Jon. Jon, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Fantastic. It is quarantine season.
That it is. That it is.
How you taking the quarantine?
Funny story. I think what was that? I actually got sick right before they put that stay home order and all that jazz out. So I had already called in sick on Monday, and then I think Tuesday is when they put out all this leave for workers and everything like that.
Right.
But since I was pretty sick and with everything going around, it was like, man, how do you even go back to work if you've called out sick? Like, do you have to have like a clean bill of health? How does this work? Who knows? But I went to Harrison Hospital in Silverdale because that's where my primary doctor's office is.
Oh, do you even have a primary doctor?
Yeah, I went in, and since I met all their symptoms, they went ahead and gave me the test right there for the COVID. Mm-hmm. But it took 9 days to get the results.
That is absolutely ridiculous. What if you died
9
from
days.
COVID in 9 days?
Yeah, and I mean, that entire time, I was still coughing, still sick, still running fevers.
That's crazy.
Like, the whole time. And I was like, so by the time I actually got results, like, even if it would have been positive, I would have only had to quarantine a couple more days.
That's nuts. Now they have a test that does it in minutes.
Yeah, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Technology, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, guys, if you get tested for COVID, go ahead and self-quarantine for 2 weeks until you get your results. It's like 2 weeks later, you still don't get your results. Like, well, do I keep quarantining?
And, it's funny because when I was in there, they tested me for strep and the flu, like right there. And those were both negative. But then, I think I told you I've been listening to a couple of Joe Rogan's latest podcasts where he brings on experts and all that.
Right.
And the last one, they talked about the actual test they use. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's not even really that effective. So
what?
Yeah, because I guess when they're testing, they're looking for the virus, right? But they might not necessarily, the way they do the swabs, get it. So you'll still get the negative, even though you were positive. They said basically the people that are doing these tests, like your primary care doctors and things like that, it's not very controlled.
Yeah.
So, it's hit or miss.
They have to swab the back of your throat too, right?
When they did mine, it was just like right up my nose. Like,
it was in your nose.
Yeah, and it wasn't even anything crazy. And I was like, well, it was nothing.
Really?
But who knows?
And it turned out you didn't have the
No.
COVID-19. Mm-hmm. You just were
sick.
Got the man cold.
Yeah.
Legitimate man cold.
Still sick,
Yeah.
It's been like, I'm not
great.
now.
This is awesome. Social distancing. Is this how wide is this table? Is it 4 to 6 feet? This table?
We're actually Skyping this one. No.
Yeah, right. I had my mom in town for a week because we were supposed to go on our honeymoon to Canada, and then the week that we were supposed to go on our honeymoon, Canada said, if you ain't from Canada, don't be coming to Canada.
I think we were warning you.
I know, but I was waiting to see, and luckily we didn't take off when we were gonna, because we would have been stuck in Canada, so which would have not been fun. But after we heard from you saying, I got tested, my mom was like, well, I can't go home in good conscience, and what if his test is positive? Then I would have been exposed and on the plane and spreading it to everyone. And I was like, Mom, it's not, calm down. We're waiting until, But the problem is my mom didn't have any. She had 1 week of paid, and so that second week she was here, she didn't have it. It wasn't paid, so I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then when she got back to Massachusetts, the governor said if you're traveling to Massachusetts, you automatically have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So she took another 2 weeks of unpaid vacation. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. So she's been off work for like a month.
Well, good thing they're getting them stimulus checks.
That's right, and they're going off last year's tax returns. You know what that means? Lordo and I weren't married last year when we filed for taxes, which is pretty nice. But I was kind of against it, but...
The stimulus check?
Yeah.
I'll take yours.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it to a family that actually needs it.
Well,
also mine, also known as mine. Yeah, I could. Lordale's like talking about buying new furniture for the house, for the new house and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, God. We don't need it.
Just buy food or something.
Yeah, right. But lots of toilet paper.
Yeah.
So, Jon, before we go any further, I like the eyebrow hint, the looking at the beer. We haven't been at this in a while, so why don't you go ahead and tell them, this wonderful audience, what's the beverage of the day?
Well, I think we've had this one before and we've talked about it, but
It is.
It's Sun Glitter Peach IPA from
So
Silver
good.
City. It's a fruit beer, 6.5% alcohol by volume. It's pretty good. I like it.
I love Sun Glitter, man. I don't know what it is about it because it gets me drunk, but it also tastes good.
Yeah, and it's funny. I didn't realize it was a fruit beer until you actually read the can.
That says peach IPA on it.
Yeah, well, no, it says it's a fruit beer, and I was like, oh, so I guess they're getting all the alcohol from the peach. I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What's funny is, right there it says fruit beer.
Yep.
Wow. What's hilarious is I just told Charles when I was at home before coming over here. He said, "Do they have any fruit beer?" I said, "No, Charles, they don't have fruit beer. They have like fruit accented beer." And he's like, "What is accented beer?" I was like, "It's like from the South, so it has a little bit of a twang." No, I was like, "It's like it uses like blueberries or peaches or mangoes or whatever, and it's an accent, but it's like a flavor profile. It doesn't, trying to explain a flavor profile to a 11-year-old son that has no concept of what beer tastes like is kind of difficult to do. But turns out Charles is actually right. They do have fruit beer because we are drinking one right now. I freaking love this beer, dude.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's not very many beers from Silver City that I've tried that I haven't liked, though, to tell you the truth, or really up in this area. Most local breweries around here are pretty freaking good.
Yeah, but Silver City is like really good.
Mm-hmm. I concur. So, what you been up to, man, besides chilling with the family?
Oh, not much. I recently went back to work. I've been enjoying the not doing anything real physical for the last few weeks.
Yeah. Does your body feel like it's recovering?
Yeah. Like my hands don't hurt. My hip doesn't hurt as much.
Do you have calluses? My calluses are like leaving.
I was like, it's been nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you've been doing to stay sharp, but I know we talked about it. I still do the Roy Dean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get a lot out of just watching those videos.
I haven't done anything.
Nothing.
I exercise at home. Like I said, we have a treadmill, and we have like light dumbbells, 10, 15-pound dumbbells. So I walk on the treadmill on an incline, holding the dumbbells. I usually do about 45 minutes every morning at 30 to 35 degree incline, on the treadmill to kind of just burn a couple hundred calories. I usually burn about 500 calories every morning. So, but that's about it. All I've been doing. Well, I'm working out with Van across the street too, but.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be in way better shape than me when we get back to it.
You haven't worked out at all?
Well, really, that first 2 weeks, I was sick. There was no working out. I was done. But my cardio is going to be horrible, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing our normal kind of jiu-jitsu warm-ups, and I watched some videos where they use the chair for the partner. I tried to use one of these chairs. That didn't work
Bad
out
idea.
too well. Yeah, I couldn't really couldn't get it.
Yeah. I saw a professor brought up or used a couple stiff pillows today in one of his videos as a partner, and I thought that was kind of cool. But I don't really have any pillows like that. We don't have couches, so because everything's in storage. So, and Charles doesn't want to do jiu-jitsu, so it's like, well, what do I do? I could just practice moves, warm up moves or shrimping or something like that. But I just haven't. So.
I told you, I just went back to the Gracie Combatives course.
Yeah.
Because it's real structured, and basically each lesson is anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of just been going back over those.
Are the girls doing it too?
Well, I put it on their iPads and set it up where they could just log in. And I tried to show them, I think the first lesson is almost an hour on trap and roll. That's
really?
It. The first one's just trap and roll. Which,
maybe I should do that with sorry to interrupt. Thinking about that, maybe I should just do Gracie Combatives with Charles.
Yeah.
Because I feel we always talk about it. I feel like we have such a good base relative to our jiu-jitsu because we started off with
Gracie Combatives.
Gracie Combatives.
Yeah, I like it. The second lesson is Americanas. The third lesson is Kimuras. The fourth one is I think it's arm bars. I mean, it's just very much the basic fundamental stuff that you learn on. But it's so structured that I think it's great for the kids. It's easy too because they can rewind, go back, watch, go back.
That's smart. I think I'm gonna do that.
And it's only $20 a month. So
yeah, I'll cancel my Roar Dean and then
just keep both.
Actually, I can't cancel Roar Dean. I love you, Roar Dean.
Yeah.
So
And Katie, I'm not too good at teaching. She was like, "Oh, why don't you go help the girls?" So I came down here, had the mat out, and I was like, "All right, girls, let me see your triangles." They're like, "What?" I was like, I was like, "I know you know what triangles are. I've been doing this for almost 2 years."
Yeah.
And they were like,
next month is 2 years.
yeah. And I was like, "All right," and I'm just like talking to them, like, "All right, tell me the difference between Kimura and Americana." And there's like deer in the headlights, bro.
That's
like,
so funny. Charles would do the same.
I'm like, I'm going outside. I can't handle this. And like when I'm trying to teach, like help them out, Katie's over here working out with her radio blaring, and I just can't even work in that environment. I'm like, oh, no, it's just not gonna happen.
That's so funny. Speaking of environment, I wake up like 6:30 every day, because I wake up before Charles and Lauderdale because I'll clean the kitchen, do some chores around the house, cook my breakfast, make a pot of coffee, right? Let Blaze out, feed him, like all the like stuff, so they don't have to do it when they wake up. And one thing I like to do is also, like, I'm in college now, right? So I do all my classes online because of the quarantine. So I'll try to knock out a bunch of my college classes online. And the reason I started waking up earlier and earlier is because I started getting less and less time to myself to do this, right? And the other morning, like, they came out. I love them to death, but they came out. Lauderdale turns the TV on. She's like, it's like blasted TV. Charles is over there, like, playing with his toys, making a bunch of noise. Blaze is all in their face, so they're both yelling at Blaze. And I'm, like, trying to write a 1,000-word essay on, like, the death penalty. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait till tonight. I'm just...
Have you had to do one on the death penalty?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm in my ethics, or what class am I doing it for?
Are you done with it already?
I have one more paragraph in my conclusion. So I'm doing it for my ethics class. They said pick one topic out of these certain ones, and one was capital punishment. And so I'm writing a paper.
Did you do any like case research on it?
Yep. I did a bunch of case research.
So remember, I told you my dad was a warden.
Yeah.
My uncle was the executioner.
Yeah.
So when he'd execute people, like, they would, like, have protests and people would come
Yeah,
out.
I'm against the death penalty, to tell you the truth.
He'd talk about it, and they'd ask him, like, how can you do it? It was always interesting.
Yeah, I'm against the death penalty after doing more research into it and realizing how much it cost the taxpayer for one person to go through a capital punishment case. We're talking millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars to do it. I was like, holy crap. As to where, like, I mean, I don't want to get into political stuff, but it's like, it was just like eye-opening. I was like, holy crap, man. Like, I was kind of against it because I'm kind of a physical conservative, right? Like, I don't want our tax dollars going to things that we really don't need to do. And I think death penalty is kind of, one of those things. And then I realized, like, a murder in the first degree, a study was done, and they found in New Hampshire it would cost about $70,000 to $100,000 for a first-degree murder case. So that's a huge difference from $6-7 million in taxpayers for one person, and that's not including their time in prison. And I was like, that's absolutely nuts.
Well, I wonder how much that would cost, though. Like, because then if they have life, that's 75 years. If it's federal, I mean, how much is that going to cost?
But right? So that's another thing they bring up in this article that I read and stuff. They talked about the average sentence for a life without parole is only 16 years. They only last usually 16 years in prison, right? There's obviously variables where people last longer and then people that don't last as long, right? But the average is 16 years. And once again, this in the state of New Hampshire, which I don't know why they did it, that was just the one that all the research was done, it was only $33,000 a year for one person. So even after 16.4 years at $33,000 a year, it equals just over $550,000 for their life sentence.
Yeah.
On top of the $70,000 to $100,000. So $600,000 for one person to serve a life sentence without parole, as to where you're still not touching the legal fees for, the 1 year. Right. So I thought that
surprising.
I thought that was very interesting. Or what we could do is there's like hard labor camps. Like, college is cool. I could see why college kids get really big headed, because you do learn a lot. Right, like we always talk about, like, those college kids that all of a sudden they think that they know everything.
No offense, Abby.
Yeah. Right? And I can see where it comes from, because you do learn a lot when you do a bunch of research papers, right? But I also am 30 years old. I've been around the world. Was in the military for a couple of years, so I don't get, like, blind. A lot of the people in my class are obviously vets and whatnot, and because it's Bradman University, which is a on-base campus. So I could only imagine like going to like an actual university and hearing these people talk about like this stuff where there's like they air quotes know what they're talking about, know. So, but it's definitely it's a fun experience, man. I'm happy I waited for as long as I did to do it. Just because I'm way more level headed. I'm more focused.
Patience.
Yeah, I'm patient. And I don't know, man. The money's great too. That GI Bill is pretty fantastic. So, but
I tell everybody they should go sign up and just do 4 years, get them benefits.
Bro, I know people want free college. Just sacrifice 4 years, and boom, you got it. $80,000 of free college. But
Truth.
No, so you did college for a little bit too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my stuff ends this year.
Yeah, you should probably use a little bit left that you have.
7 months left or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But you almost have your bachelor's though, right?
Yeah, but I'm not getting past the math.
But you have tutors.
We're done. I'm past it.
Bro, come on, just get your bachelor's.
We're good. We're good.
Katie's has a bachelor's, right?
Yep.
Is she going for a master's?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, she says she would, but I mean, I don't know. You got to weigh it. Like, I mean, what are you going to get out of it? That's my whole thing.
Yeah. And that's why I'm going to college because, in order to move up past a certain point in the government, you got to start having like college degrees and like, paperwork to back you up and whatnot. So I'm trying to get as high as possible, even with a hand tattoo. I don't really care. I'm trying to get as high as possible. So. And plus, no one in my immediate family has a college degree. No one's even. My dad went to college for a semester, and that's the most anyone has in my immediate family. I have an uncle that has a master's, but other than that, like no one else has anything. So my family came from the military and the trades, so which I thought was kind of cool too. Like my grandfather was a machinist, and then a couple of my uncles invented some stuff, and it's not common for my family to have college, so kind of break that cycle.
So are you still going to go down to San Diego?
That I don't know. Because I was supposed to leave May next month, middle of May, to go down there. So if I go back April 15th, which is the next evaluation per the CDC, if we're still at a high risk, because if you guys don't know, Lauderdale's pregnant, so Lauderdale and I are expecting a baby. Pregnant women, according to the CDC, are high risk right now. So as long as they're high risk, I'm gonna stay home because I don't want to risk Lauderdale getting sick. So
yeah, and California is like way worse off than we are.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So if I go back and the CDC lowers, the threat level, I guess you could say, of this all, then I'll go down to San Diego. But I mean, the governor here just extended the stay home policy till May 4th.
I don't know what small businesses are going to do.
May 4th.
I'm like, that is unbelievable.
Not only that, but kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kids are just bored.
Well, no, I mean, Charles is like bored out of his freaking mind.
Yeah.
But like, Charles isn't the best student in the world, and to have this much time off of school isn't going to benefit him next year.
Just tell them they're probably just going to all have to repeat.
That's what I keep telling. I mean, he's like, I love being off school. I was like, say that now until they realize
right.
that you guys did a quarter of the school year or half a school year, and then you had to stop. So,
well, maybe they'll just consider like the summer break now, and whenever this is done, they're just back to school. Yeah,
because 6 weeks is a long time. That's how long is a normal?
I think right around there.
6 weeks,
something like that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm just worried about him and falling behind and it being harder because of all of this. Like any normal parent, right? No one wants their child to fall behind and have to repeat a grade. But I mean, certain stuff's out of our control. So
it's gonna be funny though. We're gonna look back on this in like 20 years, be like, "Oh, you remember when we survived that pandemic?"
Yeah. Yeah, so I need to come over here and we need to do some jiu-jitsu, man. You got the mats.
I'm so gonna die. I'm telling you, that mat's too small.
So when we move into the new house, I have 2 mats.
Do you?
Yeah, so we can put them in the garage, and the garage is insulated and everything too. So put a little space heater out there, put some smooth jazz on, drink a couple beers.
Oh, I can't wait till the first class when we're all back. I'm just imagining what open mat's gonna look like.
Everyone's gonna be tapping.
But it's gonna be winded just from the warm ups.
Yeah, right. Like,
They're gonna be like, oh no.
yeah.
Ugh.
Hey, what's cool though? Speaking of jiu-jitsu, on a jiu-jitsu podcast, uh, there are so many people giving away free instructional
I saw
DVDs
that.
right now, man.
Yep.
If you go to BJJ Fanatics and sign up for their mailing list, it's like every day they're giving out free. John Dana here is giving out free DVDs. There's Fernando, the owner of BJJ Fanatics. He's giving out free DVDs. It's like everyone. Malky from Black Label Jiu-Jitsu gave out a bunch of free stuff. It's cool that people are taking the opportunity to also help out because they know like things are just shut down and whatnot. So it's cool that people are like, it's okay, we understand. Here, you can still practice. So if Rodine, if you want to make yours free for now too, that'd be great because I'm still subscribing. So.
Yeah, the Gracie one's doing 20% off right now.
Really?
That's why it's only $20 a month for that.
Oh, nice, dude. Yeah. I might have to. I'm telling you, man, I got to do that because Charles would love it, and I could put it on the TV down in the living room, and we could just do it on the carpet.
I mean, it's a good one anyway because you only need one person. You know, it walks you through it.
Yeah.
Then it gives you solo drills for that move, so you don't even need a partner.
Man, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's like one of those things. It's hard to be motivated when everything is unmotivating.
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of thing. You know what I mean? Like. Usually you're like, man, I got 6 weeks off. I'm gonna drill. Right? The first day you're like, well, I mean, I could just hang out.
Right.
3 weeks later, you're like, I mean, I could just hang out. That's why, like, every morning I have to wake up still at like early in the morning. I have to do my time on the treadmill or something. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be stagnant for however long I am. Like
I did a lot of hiking and stuff the whole time.
Yeah, I saw your guys'
We just
pictures.
hit the trails right here.
Yeah, which is still better than nothing.
Yeah,
right.
I jumped on the mountain bike like I was gonna go far. You know, it looks easy on TV when people are on mountain bikes. You see them just switching gears, going up the mountain.
Oh my gosh,
bro! I was dying, red faced. I had to get off the bike, walk.
That's so funny.
Drink some water. Going downhill is great. Uphill, whew, that's rough.
Not so much.
No, not so much.
That's so funny. What have you guys planned anything for when all this is over?
Well, I'm in almost the same boat you are. So we were supposed to be in Vegas all last week, remember? So I canceled that trip, and you had to cancel your trip, and
you know what?
Even Kevin canceled his trip. Like everyone had plans during this whole thing.
Yeah,
so.
it's crazy. We're supposed to move in our house.
Yep.
Our brand new house by now.
It's just it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, what sucks about our honeymoon, too, is none of it was refundable.
Oh, they wouldn't just let you move it to the next year?
They did, but it was September, and it wouldn't work for us. No, because it's a timeshare. The guy rented out his slot on his timeshare or sold his slot on the timeshare to us. And so we're like, well, can we just get a refund? And we can't get a refund because it technically went to charity, so the charity can't give the money back. And so he's like, no, this is the only time that I had allotted for this. And we're like, yeah, but we can't go because the world
everything is done.
Yeah, he's like, well, I could reschedule it for September if that works. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work. Like that doesn't work at all. Kids are in school and whatnot. Like, how are we gonna take the week off to go do it? Excuse me. And my mom's not gonna have enough time for vacation again to come out and watch Charles and whatnot. So we just took the hit. The money went to a good cause.
That's true.
So we can't be mad about that, but it just sucks, man.
It does.
And then the house is getting delayed. We were supposed to move in like 2 weeks ago. First world problems. Can't go on, a vacation. Can't. People are dying around the world. I'm worried about moving into my brand new house so I can build my podcast studio.
It is crazy. These are just interesting times. You can't plan for this kind of stuff.
I know. And when you're here, you don't really know what to do anyways, right? Like
That's
you're like,
right.
The Lordell, she's taking it kind of because she's, like I said, she's pregnant, right? So she's a little bit more worried than I am. I'm like, well, I mean, if we stay away from people, we should be good, right? Like she's like, yeah, but we need to wash our hands more. I'm like, yeah, but if we're always around each other and we don't see anyone else,
we're okay.
We're okay, right? Yeah. And as long as those other people don't see anyone else, then we're okay. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know, man. It's just crazy everything that's going on right now. It makes me realize like I do need to get a home gym. I do need to get that emergency.
Yeah, I would love a treadmill. Yeah. I mean, I like running. I just don't like running on the pavement. Give me like woods trail or treadmill, and I'm happy.
Right.
I went running with Katie around the lake.
Yeah, I did that too.
I
It's a
could
good
barely get in my truck. My knee was killing me from that
What?
pavement. I was like,
Oh my
I'm not
God.
running on this stuff anymore.
I'm almost out of beer. Are you almost? Here we can pause it. Oh, Presidente, get her in on this.
I'll just text her. Oh, you're gonna call her?
I can call
Oh,
her.
there you
So we found out if I hook my phone up to the recorder. We get this. Hello?
Oh,
I can't do it. Never mind. I can't add a new track. Dang it! When we're recording. What if I pause? Hold on 1 second. Nope. All right. I should have kept it on the whole time. Dang it, man! I could turn off tracks, but I can't add tracks back in there once I turn them off when we're recording. That sucks.
see what Katie sent me.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
April Fool's was good around here.
Yeah.
The girl, well, Drew thought she was gonna make a real funny. Well, I always thought April Fool's when I was growing up anyway. Is that's when you like tell somebody something and you get them to believe it, or you say something and they believe it. And you're like, oh, April Fool's.
I got you.
Well, Drew thought it would be funny to go get a Gatorade bottle, cut a hole behind the wrapper, stick my iWatch inside of it, and then just hide my watch inside this sticky Gatorade bottle. And I was like, that's not funny, Drew.
What?
She's like, April Fool's. I was like, no, that's not how you play April Fool's. She's like, I was going to use your phone, but I couldn't fit it in there. And I was like, no, let's not play with these expensive toys.
Yeah. April Fool's, I smashed your watch. Like, that's not a joke. Like, it's literally destroyed now.
I was like, not funny at all.
Yeah, I was thinking of how we could get like Charles. Like, and we saw this one that was pretty good. This guy had 3 daughters, and he had planned it for like a couple days before. Like, hey, you guys go back to school this day, right? And so he had his daughters sitting out front of his house in full school gear with their backpacks and everything, and they're just standing there. He's like, "Hey, girls, how you doing?" They're like, "Good." He's like, "You guys know what day it is?" And one of them's like, "I don't know what day it is." Right? And he's like, "You sure? What is the actual day?" They're like, "It's April 1st." And the oldest daughter's like, "I hate you! It's April Fool's Day." She like throws her backpack on the ground, and the video. Oh man, I was like, that is so funny. I wish I could do that to Charles, but he already knew that he was gonna be in school for a long time. But I can't wait to get back to class, man.
Yeah. So what do you think's happening with all these small businesses, man? Like, I think the gym's pretty stable because people aren't quitting their memberships. They're just going to wait it out. But, like, all them small mom and pop stores.
I know, man. It hurts. It sucks, man. Like, for those people that don't have work right now and have no sense of income, like, I think, this, like, whole stimulus package idea is great, right? I mean, I don't think $1,200 pre-tax is going to do anything.
It's not even close to enough money to cover anything.
Yeah, especially because people have been out of work already for weeks. Yep. You know what I mean? In some areas. And so, but I mean, we can't give them everyone an entire month of their income because it'd just be too astronomical of a number. But I don't know, man. That's why you got to support your local businesses, like when you can, because our business matters so much, especially in trying times like now, because these guys they're not Starbucks, right? All these baristas or mom and pop food stores or restaurants, a lot of them are, or like those are, even some of those are still open, right? But people that make goods aren't open.
No.
Like a jewelry store had to close, or gyms had to close, or stuff like that. So it really sucks that that's happened to them. Hopefully everyone just bounces back from this, takes the small hit, and are able to get back on their feet. So
I think this will be interesting coming out of it too, because I think it's going to enlighten a lot of people to not relying on the government to take care of you.
Yeah.
When things get bad, I mean, I think they might realize, like, okay, maybe I should prepare a little better.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And not make the mad rushes to Costco and Target for 5,000 rolls of toilet paper.
I can't believe that.
and food and everything else.
It's like that whole psychology behind it, right? Because one person said, I got to buy a bunch of toilet paper. Another person saw that and said, oh, that's a great idea. I need to buy a bunch of toilet paper. I don't want to lose the opportunity to wipe my ass.
And I can think of like 50 ways if you're really desperate and you need to wash your
toilet
ass.
paper.
It's pretty easy.
Jump in the fucking shower.
Yeah.
Sorry for my language.
You know, water hose. I mean, knock yourself
like
out,
that. Bidets. Hello.
Yeah.
I bet you bidets are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You know?
I was like, oh man.
And what's crazy too is Lordell one day she went to, I think they went to Target. Katie and her went to Target, and toilet paper, paper towels all gone. Right? She's like, well, I read something that says you should probably pick up like kids' medicine because if a kid gets sick, they're gonna need medicine. Walked over to the kid medicine aisle, completely filled. Not a single, like barely anything missing out of it. I'm like, that's so crazy. You know, it's like people got their priorities all messed up, you know, so.
And you got to think we're in like a great location, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here in the Pacific Northwest. If you have even a little know-how, you're not going to starve.
Right.
I mean, we're in the woods.
Literally.
There's water pretty much any way you want to walk.
Fresh.
Like, you could go.
This lake is fresh water.
Yeah, we got fresh water. I mean, go throw some chicken wire in there, get some crab. I mean, you're not gonna starve out here.
Right.
Like,
that's the thing, right? Is like, I hope people once again realize, like you said, that they can't always rely on the government, because what if something happens to the government?
Yeah.
Or the government has other priorities in order to protect the country and not just a single family or whatever. You know what I mean? So, guys, if you this is an eye opener to you, not only because unfortunately many people around the world have died from this, and a lot of people have been affected by it. It's a terrible thing, but hopefully you can do some self-realization and look at yourself and be like, next time, how can I be better prepared for this? So I'm not going out like mass hysteria, buying all this stuff that I'm not going to need, and looking at all these things, freaking out that I don't know what I'm going to be able to do, you know, so it's an eye opener for us. You know, I thought I was pretty prepared for stuff like this, but I mean, it just puts you show holes in your games. So
yep,
it's kind of like when you go against that guy that's better than you, and you think you're hot stuff, and then you're like, damn, I thought my stuff was good, but no. Right. In real life,
I was thinking, I'm glad I grew up hunting and fishing. So like, if I got to, I can go get something. Like,
right.
But I was thinking, man, what about those people that never did? What if they never grew up hunting or fishing? What if they decided like they're just not going to own firearms? They don't know anything about them. Like, I was like, that would be really rough, because then they're totally reliant on something else.
Right. This chair is so squeaky. Oh my gosh. This would be the first chair to burn for fire. I did some yard work in the backyard of the house that we're renting, and picked up, because we had a couple windstorms during the winter time. And so I picked up a bunch of branches and whatnot and weeds. And at our rental property, we have a fire pit. And I was like, all right, I need to get some wood. Went across the street to our buddy Vam, got a couple of pieces of wood, started a little bit of a fire. And I was like, man, this fire's just not getting hot enough to where I need to throw the stuff in there, because it's not dry. None of it, just came off the tree. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw it on top of the fire, see what happens, right? And I forgot all the like pine and whatnot. It has all that oil in it. Bro, I threw it on top, and it was like, woof, just a huge ball of flame. I was like, this is amazing. So I just kept throwing on top. I was like, I completely forgot all that oil and all that stuff, dude. It was great. It lit it right up. And then I have a big, clean, beautiful yard, and had a nice little fire. We should probably do s'mores too right now. And right now would be a good time for a fire.
We just use the propane fire pit for s'mores.
Where's your guys' propane fire pit?
In my garage.
Oh, yeah, and you had the little propane tank hooked up to it. Yeah.
But I, too, was burning stuff yesterday.
Oh, really?
And funny thing is, I decided to burn the Christmas tree that we had at Christmas time,
How was that?
Bro, that thing was still green, and we couldn't get it to burn. I was like, what kind of pine Christmas tree can you not get to burn?
Thank you, Drew.
But I'm going to do a lot tomorrow. We're going to clear a trail to go up to the back where the kids want their little clubhouse.
How far back? 100 feet, you said,
it's
right?
about 225 back. So I mean, it's not too far, but it's
225 feet back is what your property line is?
Yeah.
Are you going to get a surveyor out here and get your property lines? Or
I don't think I'll be here long enough to care about that.
It's all uphill, though, unfortunately, from behind your house.
I think we'll only be here probably another year.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
And then you guys got to come live over by us.
Yeah, wherever I can get on some water is where I'm going.
Yeah, Wildcat Lake.
Eh.
Hey, they're building a house over in, what is that, Deer Arbor or whatever it is? Deer Harbor? What is it called?
Talking about Orcas?
No, TJ Park is the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Katie said she went to go, they got 5 acres. And
I
Katie's
know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and Katie's like, yeah, we could afford it. I'm like, blinking at her just slowly, like, mm-hmm.
Anytime I hear her say those words, I die a little inside.
She's like, first, we've already had this much. And I'm like,
yeah, no thanks. I do really want to be on some water, though.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's a couple of houses around here going up for sale that are on the water, man.
I always look.
You just got to do it.
I'm always watching.
Just what you got to do is you just got to see it and then just put an offer in. Just
throw it in there.
Just throw it in there.
I don't think so.
What's wrong with this place? This place is great. If we could turn this downstairs into like our beat laboratory, that'd be even better, though.
I don't mind it. I just don't like the driveway.
Yeah, the driveway does suck.
Yeah.
It does suck.
It's really uphill for those that have never seen it.
Yeah.
First time I drove up it, I slid all the way down. It was snowing. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, you came back in right from Japan, right in the middle of the blizzard, right? Or right after the blizzard?
Yeah. I don't know why I was driving. I should have had Katie drive.
Were you all messed up? Or
Well, you figure I've been up like 30 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't driven a vehicle in months because we don't drive them in Japan.
I can't wait to go back to Japan, man. All those guys are leaving, unfortunately, but I want to go back to Japan just because of the money, the culture, Tokyo. I know you don't like any of those things, but besides the money, and then the Indian food.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I'm looking forward to San Diego still.
Me too. I really want to go to San Diego. I really want to go to San Diego too, and for the training there because there's so many good gyms. Hold on a second, guys. Listen to this. Ready?
Oh.
That's a fresh beer being opened up. I don't think I've eaten in a couple hours because I might be getting a little buzzed.
Really?
Hang up and hang out, bro. What are you doing? Oh, is this your place?
Yeah, I think you might need to ditch whoever's finding your lodging and just talk to this lady because she can probably find you something like right away.
Wow, this thing's nice. Well, I haven't been to work, so I don't know if she's
just on Facebook.
Oh.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Haute Homes or something like that. Haute.
Oh, this is nice. This is an actual nice little house.
It's on Orange. Coronado.
It's on Orange, huh? Dude, look at that bathroom.
But you might, especially if you're going to go down there short notice, you can find something in a day or two.
Jesus Christ. $5,500 a month?
Yeah, that's discounted.
Oh, my God. Dude, that's good. And a security deposit of $5,500. It's going to cost someone $11,000 to move into a 2-bedroom apartment.
To rent.
Yep. $11,000.
Good old California, man.
That is absolutely insane.
So look, when we get down to California, I think we're gonna really reach out to Joe Rogan and see if we can get him on a podcast.
Yeah,
if
I know.
Anybody's got an email for him or something we can use, that'd be great.
We've heard he's listened to us a couple times, and the hype is real about us. And he said he wanted to get in contact with us, so we're gonna try to do it. He lives up in L.A. though, so he's got to drive all the way down to San Diego to come see us.
I'm sure he takes a helicopter or something.
You know how crazy it'd be if he actually, I mean, never in a million years, there's so many podcasts out there, but there's not one that's like ours, that's traveling the journey up from white belt to black.
Oh, white to black, there you go.
Or just one stripe blue.
That's funny.
So I need to start listening to some podcasts again, man. Like I said, I'm like so caught up in schoolwork and really just playing video games and hanging out and with the family. And I've been cooking a lot lately too. Like I cooked those ribs yesterday.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Did you bring some?
No, I just
from yesterday.
See what my food's at.
Did you not leave me any ribs from yesterday?
there's a couple up there actually. They were pretty good. I tried smoking carrots. I'm never doing that again.
Why, they get all mushy?
No, they just got really weird.
Like the
I
flavor?
grill them all the time.
Yeah.
But I've never smoked them. And
I feel like they would take a lot of smoke flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, they got like real, almost tangy.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not doing it again.
I think I'm going to get a propane grill for the house, too, when I move in.
Yeah, it's going to be plumbed for you.
Yeah, it's out on the patio.
That's why I put one up there, too.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do a propane grill for just like quick, like searing of steaks or something like that, where I just want it, because the smoker is great, but the smoker doesn't sear like I want it to. I want that because I'll put it at 500 degrees, drop a steak on there, and it's like, you know what I mean? And then if I kick it up to 500 degrees on a propane grill, that thing's sizzling when it touches. So,
well, even when I did the ribs yesterday, I took them off and then I went and seared them on the propane.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I do that pretty much for everything, except for this chicken I got out there right now.
That chicken looked good.
I tried brining it, so I had it in a brine for about 5 hours.
Overnight or just today?
Just today. I put it in a Ziploc bag, bunch of seasoning, salt water, all that jazz.
Nice.
Never tried that before. I don't know if you're supposed to rinse the chicken off, but I didn't.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So we'll see.
I brined a chicken and then smoked it for Thanksgiving, and that was one of the concerns I had. I thought that I was gonna have to rinse the chicken off, and the recipe said don't rinse the chicken off. You don't need to, and so I was like, okay, I guess. And then smoked it, and it came out perfect. It wasn't salty in the slightest. It was delicious. The meat was so tender and juicy. So, how big of a Ziploc bag did you have to put that chicken in?
A big one.
Like bigger than a gallon?
Yeah, it fits in just a big Ziploc bag.
Huh.
Even with the liquid.
Yeah. How'd you do your ribs?
Just salt, pepper, brown sugar, paprika, a little cumin.
That's what I do.
I think that was about it. A little bit of mustard, the powder mustard. Yeah. That's all I ever use.
Yeah. Similar to mine. But the way I do mine is brown sugar, smoked paprika, garlic powder, salt, pepper. Then I dry rub it, let it sit overnight. And then in the morning, I will, this is the first time I've done it this way, but usually I do dry rub it. Just dry rub. I love just dry rub. So I smoked it at 185 degrees for 3 hours, wrapped it, smoked it again at 225 for 2 hours, unwrapped it, glazed it with some Kinder's mild barbecue sauce, which is, if you guys have never had it, it's at Costco. And it is delicious. Then left that on the grill for probably about 10, 15 minutes to let that kind of create a glaze over it, and took them off, and bro.
Good, huh?
Oh, my God. That Green Mountain is absolutely amazing.
Well, you've seen the little Green Mountain I had.
Yeah, those things, the Davy Crocker, right?
Yeah. So I've never had this much room to smoke anything. Like I could probably put 12 of them chickens in there.
Yeah, that's
full chickens.
That thing looks tiny in there right now.
Yeah, and I moved a shelf and put it up. But there's 4 that sit in there. I was like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that little smoker's pretty cool. I kind of want to get one of those. And she's like, are you trying to move your microphone?
I thought this was my beer. I was like,
John's already so intoxicated. He's trying to grab his microphone stand like a beer. So, I mean, we pretty much talked about everything besides jiu-jitsu today, man. What are you looking forward to the most about getting back on the mat?
Honestly, a routine.
Yeah.
I want to get back into the routine.
Crap. Ain't that the truth?
I think, I always gauge how I'm feeling with a lot of, Billy. Everybody knows Billy. We've had him on the podcast a couple times. Billy's good for once, twice a week. You'll see him, in class or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, man, am I going too much or doing too much?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case or not. So it's interesting. I think when we get back, I'm just going to go twice a week instead of the 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the routine also, and then I don't know, just the physical aspect of it. Like I pay for that Juggernaut AI training, jiu-jitsu based strength training through Juggernaut training, and I haven't been able to do it, but I kind of want to keep paying for it because I want my cycles to keep going. Speaking of which, they haven't really emailed me or charged me. I think they stopped it because of all this stuff. But so I kind of want to keep doing that while once we get back, and it's gonna be. I just want the routine too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to rolling. I'm looking forward to seeing the guys. I enjoy watching, Keegan and Chris and all those guys get good and all that stuff. I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
A lot of people were really getting in their groove. Like Justin was getting back into his groove. Like
a
lot of guys were like really getting it, right before this happened. Like it felt like you were just watching everybody getting ready to get their blue belts. Like they were all like there, what I mean?
I
like,
know.
They were all ready.
I hope this doesn't set anyone back. I know there's no way Professor's going to want to do a blue belt test for anyone when we first get back. But hopefully it's not too long before everything's back in the groove of things. And
yeah, because just a lot of people I felt like they were really progressing. Like, especially after that in-house tournament we had.
Yeah, it's a big eye-opener for a lot of people.
Yeah, like it seemed like everyone was like really going a lot.
Yeah, like Mike said when Will grabbed him, he's like, oh, crap, this ain't a regular roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was good. I feel like everybody's just so much better.
Yeah. And this I registered for that Revolution. Unfortunately I had to back out of Revolution.
It wouldn't have mattered because they canceled it anyway.
Yeah, I did not register. I'm joking, guys. I didn't register for it. The night I was registering for it, I had all the stuff up and they hadn't canceled it yet. But Lordell adamantly told me, do not do it.
I think the writing was on the wall that was going to be canceled.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, because I think it was probably a good 2 weeks prior to them canceling. I already went and got my refund.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way they're going to do this with this going on.
And when I went to go register it was 1,300 people had already registered for it.
Yeah.
Right? And they're already and at this time, the governor had only said 250 people at a time. Right? And I was like, how are they going to do this competition when the governor already said only 250 people in one place at a time? Right? And then it instantly was canceled, and the governor was 25 people in one place at a time. Yep. And I was like, Jesus, man.
And I was thinking, I don't want to bring my kids to go compete.
Yeah.
How are you going to feel about doing that and then somebody gets sick, right? Like, was it worth it? Probably not.
Right. There's a couple gyms that in the area, because obviously Washington State was the heaviest one of the heaviest states to get hit by it at first. I don't know if we are now.
I think it's Louisiana now.
Louisiana?
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of local gyms that I follow and was watching their precautions that they were taking before they actually shut down their gym. And one gym, they're like, you get 2 partners. The 3 of you stick together all night. You don't touch anyone else. You don't interact with anyone else. Your warm-ups are together, your rolling is together, your class time is together, and that way we keep you guys, as close as possible, so in case something happens, we know who you were in contact with that night.
And now they know, probably that wouldn't even have worked.
No,
now they're
way,
you're just breathing in the same room with someone, you can get it.
And this is before, it was you could cough and spread it,
And I got to tell you, since going back to work, you cough sometimes just because you cough or you
people
sneeze.
Look at you weird,
bro. It is like you just did a cardinal sin. Like you cough and everyone stops. I coughed a good 10 minutes. It was a new office, and then I was like, April Fools. It did not go over well. No, I didn't do that. I'm just joking.
I sneezed when John and I sat down before starting the podcast, and John's like, "Corona?" I was like, "Allergies."
But I mean, that's where it's at now. If you even sneeze, you feel like, uh-oh.
I was driving down the road the other day, and there was a guy running one way, a female running the other way, right? So they were going head to head, and they're running down the street, and the lady decided to run into the grass as this guy was running along, basically almost into oncoming traffic to get further away from them as they pass. I was like, this is crazy, man. But
what do you think about the whole Teddy Roosevelt thing?
I don't know what's going on.
The captain getting relieved of his duties.
Because he blew the whistle about his crew being infected. I don't know. I got to read into it.
It's so interesting. You should read into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read into that because Lordell read into it. I want to read into it. I don't want to comment on something that I don't know.
Well, I've been following a bunch of debate on it. Like,
why is he getting relieved?
Well, they said the way he did it, or like a bunch of Navy guys are talking about it, right? So I'm just following the post, listening to it, and all that. So apparently, whenever he sent out the email, he included like 30 people on the email, which I don't know if that's a big deal or not, because it's just kind of like when we send an important email, you know how you put
CC
people
everyone,
on it so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
But somehow it got, into the news's hands and all that, and that's how they said, part of the reason they relieved him was because he sent that over an unsecure, email.
Yeah,
And but you got to think, right? Like, come on, man. Every sailor has access to email. They got cell phones.
Yeah.
Like, there ain't no OPSEC. I can tell you that right now. Like,
tell me why in 2014 I pulled into Subic Bay PI and there were already the vendors lined up, people waiting on the pier.
I'm thinking
for us.
There's no OPSEC. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's not gonna happen. But I don't know. It was crazy. They got videos of like the whole ship like cheering him on while he's leaving the ship for the last time. So it was interesting because it seems like all the sailors were behind him.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I was trying to think like, wow, man, what if we were in his position and we're out to sea and, everyone knows that this virus is going around, right?
Right.
And you got 200 sailors with it on board.
200? That's
yeah, 200 were positive, right? So you know how much it spreads and how quickly. And
the whole ship needs to be
quarantined. And we're on a ship.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, at what point is he got to make the decision that, well, I mean, if you don't have the sailors, basically you have a chunk of metal floating. So, like,
right.
They have to buy into his command. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they decide they're not, then, there's not much they could do. So it's like, he seems very popular with the sailors, but now he's out. So I'm just like, that's going to be interesting because 5,000 sailors, they're going to feel like, they don't trust the government after they fire the captain that was trying to get them in port so they can quarantine all these sailors. I was like,
that's crazy, man.
It's a real.
I got to read up on it.
It's real deep. Like, I don't have an opinion on it.
Joe Rogan should have him on the podcast.
He probably will.
Yeah, because he did have what's the astronaut that saw the spacecraft or the UFOs?
Oh God, that was so good.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah. What's his name? Jon. No, Lazar.
No, that was Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
And he worked at Area 51, but he also had a retired commander.
Oh, I don't think I heard that one.
You didn't?
Oh, wait. Was this where he saw it and he was following it in an aircraft?
Yeah. He was a fighter pilot. Yeah, he was like an
F-14,
F-15 fighter pilot. Yeah. And that one was good, too. So
the Lazar one was one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's great about the Bob Lazar one, right, is like Joe Rogan's trying to, he even says it in like a later podcast where he's like, I was trying to find out if Bob was bullshitting me or not. He's like, and every time I would ask him a question, the director would jump in and talk. He's like, listen, man, I need you to stop talking. I'm trying to figure out if this man's lying to me or not. He's like, Joe Rogan's so funny, man. That guy cracks me up. I got to listen to some of his new stuff, man, or watch the videos. So
I just think he's so lucky that he can pursue all these interests he has. Like, he has that influence to be able to even get them over there to talk to. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool.
What do you think about them canceling all the UFC events and all that stuff too? And they did do one where it was just the fighters in Brazil, no crowd, which was really awkward to hear.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much to unravel, like, with the stuff going on right now. Like, even, I mean, we could go on and on. Even like, how do they determine what's an essential business, right?
Right.
That's interesting to me. So, like in New York, I don't know if you know, but NRA suing the governor there because he deemed the firearm establishments non-essential.
In a time of need.
So they also did that here in Washington. That's why there's no gun stores open.
Wow, that's crazy.
But if you go look at the government guidelines, they deemed them essential.
Right,
but they leave it up to your state.
So if you're red or blue.
And a lot of the states are saying, well, they're not essential.
That's crazy.
Then they're like, well, they feel like they kind of are at this time, especially when if the marijuana store is essential. I mean, I don't know
There's
why.
medication, man.
You know, if your coffee's if the coffee is essential,
Starbucks is still
you know what
essential.
I mean? Like,
yeah, it's true.
it's interesting. There's so much here, and it's just weird, especially you know, we're such a free country, and a lot of us are so self-sufficient that it's interesting when a government is going to restrict your movements.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I feel like, you know, there's always I think Italy right now is having a really tough time with. I almost think their people are about to just have a upheaval there, especially in the poorer districts.
Yeah.
I even feel like, even in the U.S., like we're going to do another month right now, right?
Yep. It's crazy.
I think that's pushing a lot of people towards a breaking point because they don't have a lot of money or they have no money.
Right.
They can't work, so they can't bring any in. The government can't take care of them.
Right.
It's hard to get a lot of the basic necessities you need right now. You know, a lot of those poorer people don't even have vehicles. They use public transportation, buses, passes. All that's closed right now. So I feel like, all right, well, let's see where we're at in a month, and then what if they do it for another month?
Yeah,
it's gonna get crazy.
Did they stop all like welfares and what's the word I'm looking for? What are those all called? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank right now. Like welfare, food stamps, EBT. They canceled all that during this whole thing.
No way. They didn't cancel all that.
Oh,
but I mean, they canceled like right now, like the worker rider buses, like
yeah,
you know, like
they can't do
that
those.
kind of public transportation.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, a lot of people are going to get desperate the longer this goes on.
Right.
So I feel like Italy's almost there right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Not everyone is as fortunate as us to work for the government or work for a company that, you know, we're on paid admin leave during this time. You know what I mean? And it's really put it in hopefully people's eyes that, like, yeah, like you said, man, you gotta be the master of your own destiny. You can't rely on other people to help in times of need like this because people are crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to get to a certain point. Like, I think they're going to have to let people just go out. Like, I feel like they can't keep this up forever.
No,
like,
people are going to get stir crazy.
For one, people are educated enough now about this to know they shouldn't go somewhere if they're sick. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And people are still doing it, though. That's the thing.
They should know at this point. Like let's take our gym, right? If the gym opened up right now. I can assure you no one's going to go to jiu-jitsu or go work out that's sick.
Right.
So I feel like it would be pretty safe for that place to open up and everyone could start going again.
Right.
I think they can do that with a lot of businesses. So,
yeah. Yeah, the UFC's looking for a place right now for the Khabib and Tony Ferguson fight. And
I'll volunteer my living room.
Yeah, right. No joke. This is the fifth time. You know, some say, I'm just saying, look into it, that every time Khabib and Tony are supposed to fight, something happens to stop them from fighting. Maybe this is a thing. Someone released a virus so Tony and Khabib couldn't fight, you know. So
you see the wet markets opened up again?
The wet markets?
Yeah, so
where
this virus originated from?
Oh, with the animals, right?
Yeah,
they ate it from an animal or something like that. Yeah, like China's like back to eating dogs and.
So, they opened up those same markets.
Yeah,
and I've heard about those markets, but I never really researched it. But I did after.
It's
after
crazy,
this.
right?
Bro, it is insane. They have like 100 different animals packed into these like open markets.
Yeah,
they're alive.
Yes, and then they kill them or they cook them alive too.
Well, they're defecating and urinating everywhere. And it's mixing with the blood when they butcher it. And it's all in this enclosed. Like, imagine what's being created
crazy, right?
in these areas.
Yeah.
I'm like, they need to go ahead and close that.
Yeah. That's kind of how they think Ebola happened, too, right? Is like someone ate like a monkey or something like that. Or someone got bit by a monkey or something like that. There was some sort of animal that had it interacted with a human. And then, you know, same thing. And it's
like crazy.
It's nuts.
Like,
First of all, I'm sometimes I hate Blaze. I ain't trying to eat Blaze though, you know.
Unless it's like really rock bottom.
Unless this COVID goes another month after, you know what I'm saying?
6 months later.
I might have to. I love you, Blaze, but
we gotta eat.
Gotta eat. We're gonna plump you up, bro. But yeah, I hopefully they go through with the Tony and Khabib fight, and I don't know, man. People are talking about like McGregor, Justin Gaethje, or McGregor, Tony, or they're just trying to find fights because Khabib's in Russia now, and Russia is saying no one can leave their country and whatnot. So Khabib's like, if I can leave, he came on Instagram. He's like, if I can leave Russia and Dana White tells me what location, I will be there to fight. He's like, I lose a lot of money not doing this fight. He's like, I'm not trying to avoid this fight. He's like, this is my dream fight. This is everyone's dream fight, is Tony and me. He's like, I just want to fight. I lose a lot by not doing this fight.
Right.
Like, you think I'm avoiding it? Like, no, man. come to find out, Khabib Nurmagomedov is worth like $50-60 million too. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. Hopefully everything works out. Hopefully we can get all past this, and hopefully Khabib and Tony works, and we can finally watch it.
Well, have you seen them comparing where we're at now to World War II?
Mm-mm.
So I've read like a Kitsap Sun article, which is our local newspaper here, and somebody had commented, and they were comparing the scenario right now to World War II. And everyone was just blasting this guy, right? They're like, oh, I don't know how you can compare World War II to this, and that, right? You go back, look to last week, president's on the news talking about World War II, comparing it to this. Like, everyone is like, well, maybe that guy was on to something.
Jeez.
But the way they were comparing it was, we had the Great Depression, right? And they said America actually never recovered from that until Pearl Harbor, right? So they were like, we're doing okay, but they had never recovered until the people had to get behind like a tragic event, which was Pearl Harbor, right? So they make, all the businesses start making weapons, like America got behind it, and they were doing kind of like what you're seeing now, where they're getting everyone to build these, what do they call them?
Face mask, PPE?
The breathing things.
Oh, the ventilators.
Yeah, so like, they're taking the car dealerships and doing the ventilators, and everyone's trying to make all the mask and everything, right? So they're like, the way they said economically we're getting hit as hard now as that Great Depression.
Right.
So coming out of it is going to be like,
buy stocks.
Like, but they're like, it's gonna be crazy to try to recover financially coming out of this.
That's crazy, man. It's not as bad. I know it's not as bad as the 2008 crash, but yeah, we are definitely taking a huge. The feds lowered the housing market to 0%.
I called that.
0%.
I know. Well, look what they're doing
crazy?
for new cars right now. No payments, 3 months, 0% interest.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I was like, wow.
That's so crazy to me. Maybe I should go buy a new truck. No. But yeah, no, it's and like the housing market is not going down, but it's kind of stable right now. Like we had our house appraised; it appraised at what it's worth. Or it's obviously appraised at what it's worth, but it is appraised what we needed it to. Hopefully, I was hoping for a little bit less because the market's kind of crazy right now. But it's like it's a lot of people weren't. I don't think a lot of people understand that stuff like this, like a pandemic, actually hits the market pretty bad because people can't go to work, people can't buy stuff.
Yeah,
right?
the money stopped.
The money stops. Right. People are holding on to their money. Like in 2008, Vegas was the number one city in debt because Vegas was known for construction and gambling, right? If people don't have money, they can't build. If people don't have money, they can't gamble, right? If people have money during those times, they're not going to gamble and they're not going to build. No. They're going to hold on to their money so they just in case something happens. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where we're at right now is people are like, I need to hold on to every cent I get. I can't let anyone do, I can't use my money for anything stupid or whatnot. So,
well, I see a lot of interesting good things that are coming out of this, and I say good, but like relative.
Relative, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, like people get sick all the time, right?
Right.
So I hope that where we work stays with what they're doing now. Like when I go to work in the mornings now, bro, they have people out there spraying the turnstiles with virus killers.
That's good.
And I'm like, why don't we always do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, let's clean. Like, now they're like, clean your work center 15 minutes before you. So when you get to work, disinfect and clean for 15 minutes. Newsflash, why don't we always do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, we'll keep a good distance. So now we have to mark. You haven't been to work in a while, but there's red tape every 6 feet, kind of like when you go to the grocery store.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Maintain distance and all this. Like, well, how come we don't just always do that?
Yeah. Like, why? That's the thing is, like, what baffles me is people are like, hey, stay home, stay safe, and wash your hands. I'm like, who hasn't been washing their hands?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like basic hygiene stuff that we've always talked about, right? Prime example, cleaning the mats. We were like, before all this happened, I'm just saying, we've always talked about we need to clean the mats as much as possible in between classes or after classes, or, you know what I mean? Or the floors of gyms, or common touch areas like door handles and stuff like that. Like, all this stuff should have already been happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but once again, just like in the Navy, all rules are written in blood. You know, unfortunately, it takes something like this to happen for people to realize, like, oh crap, man, maybe we're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So I hope they keep that up even after this.
Agreed. Hopefully, people take hygiene and sterilization and all this stuff a little bit more serious now that, you know, all this is through. Because I'm all for having cleaner stuff.
I don't like getting sick.
I don't either.
I'd rather not. So
when I do get sick, it's like when we got that virus that like put us on our butts for 2-3 days. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only time I get sick now. And if I could avoid that, I would love to avoid that.
I think I'm even gonna get a flu shot next year, and I haven't got flu shots in like the last 15 years.
I don't know about that. I might not do that. They put tracking devices in those now. You know,
yeah,
it's like
whatever.
You know, with the chemtrails and flat Earth stuff. So
they can add it to everything else they already got on me.
I'm just saying, look into it. So, in any case, man, we're over an hour now. I think that's good.
All right,
you good with this?
I'm good.
So, hey, everyone, don't forget to go ahead and follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, add us on Facebook, at Elbows Tight Pod on Instagram, Elbows Tight on Facebook, and Elbows Tight Podcast on Facebook for our page. John shook his head like that's a whole lot of information. Basically, Elbows Tight. If you just look up Elbows Tight, we're going to pop up, okay? Except for Tennis Elbow shows up quite a bit as well. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hopefully you guys enjoy this during your quarantine time. Hey, remember, stay safe, stay home, and wash your hands. You know, it's simple things. So, thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll catch you next time.
Later.
Us.